Rhyme with that 30 stack, and I'm thinking murder while I'm cruising down this murder block.
Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. My channel consists of me telling stories about my street episodes, my experiences in the prison, so on and so forth. But I definitely don't want anybody to think that I'm condoning this type of lifestyle. So periodically, what I like to do, I got a segment I call Free Game Friday, and I come on here and I try to instill a little wisdom into those that's still out there in the streets, especially the youngsters, in the same manner that some of my older homies would to me and some of my homies when we was on the streets, with the hope that we'll move smarter and eventually transition out of the street altogether, man. So let's get cracking on this right now, right? So if y'all pay attention, man, you know, y'all watching YouTube and stuff, y'all see, man, it's a lot of things that's going on that is not consistent with, quote unquote, the game, right? You know, of course, right? You've always had people you've always had people snitching, going against the grain, doing things that was not consistent with the street code, right? But now I believe, due to the presence of social media, YouTube, we get to see this stuff more and more. You know, we're steady seeing, you know, extremely, I would say, high spoke about names dudes who are often mentioned. Some of these dudes is being exposed by prior cases. Some of the things that they're doing is not being consistent with the street code, right? And so, man, I'm trying to tell y'all that when you hanging out on the block, kicking it with your homies and stuff, people are going to say anything to try to fit in. You know, if you out there kicking it with 15 homies, you'll never have a homie who will say, and mean it wholeheartedly, hey man, listen, I'm gonna hang with the fellas, I'm gonna holler gang, I might even bust a thing. But if I get caught, I'm gonna tell on all y'all, man, I'm not going to jail. So my whole point is, people are gonna say what they need to say to fit in and be accepted by whatever circle they're trying to hang around with, man. But the truth of the matter is, we see it unfolding in front of our eyes day in and day out. You know, you got dudes getting arrested, doing stuff, saying stuff they shouldn't say. You got dudes talking and stuff like that, man. Listen, anytime you have an ongoing investigation that has not been closed and the police are trying to find out information and send people to jail, there are not supposed to be any statements made, man. Dudes is not supposed to be talking about other people, saying this, saying that, man. It's always best just to say no comment.
And tell me what was going on.
I went over to charge my cell phone up.
And let me tell you and explain in depth why. I know a lot of times you might hear people say, or you might see on like police shows where they tell you, you have the right to remain silent, and anything that you say can and will be used against you. And that's basically what they're saying. Anything that you say can be used and will be used against you in the event it can be useful to be used against you. And so the main reason why you should be quiet, right, is because you do not know what the police got. If the police are coming to you, they have at least some type of idea you are involved. They don't just pick a person to come talk to you and mess with you. So the main reason to be quiet is because they may only have you 25%. And later on, when they give you what's known as discovery, in the event you happen to go to trial or you get arrested or whatever for some type of criminal proceedings, at some point in time, the district attorney has to hand over what's known as discovery. And basically what discovery is any and all evidence they have against you and they're going to use against you. So they may have your fingerprints in a house, right? Now you may have visited that house 10, 15 times, which will explain away why your fingerprints was there to begin with. But if they ask you a question, hey man, we got your fingerprints, and you knew you was there, and so them telling you that is making you nervous, you might try to say, well, yeah, I did. I went past there to pick up a video game, So the thing is, if you had just been quiet, your lawyer later on could have explained that situation away. He could have said, well, yeah, Joe was over there because him and this dude was friends, that he goes over there all the time. And so it was reasonable for his fingerprints to be all over the house. There are many times if an individual would just be quiet, if you just be quiet, you know, you may end up beating your case, right? So that is the main reason when they tell you you have the right to remain silent. Utilize that right, man. Take that right and be quiet, right? There is no way, once again, when you have any type of ongoing criminal procedure that has not been closed, where a person should get up there, volunteer informations, names, talk. Only thing you doing is you digging yourself a bigger grave, right? And like I said, I mentioned this a while ago, you know, a couple weeks back. You have this one individual, man. He has a pretty successful YouTube channel, over 100,000 subscribers. And according to him, at one point in time, he was in the streets himself, right? Comes out, this dude has been a paid informant for the last 10 years, you know. And so now he's coming to court testifying in the FBG Duck murder trial, right? So not only is he testifying, he is making a mockery of what he is doing. It's fun to him, you know. He's coming into court, he's clowning and stuff, you know. And so he's making all excuses now. And, you know, sometimes people do change in life, right? Sometimes you'll have people who will live this lifestyle, and once they get older and they mature, they understand the violence, the negativity they have contributed to making their community worse. So they do try to make amends and come back and change the lives of others in many of different ways. But, you know, sometimes people get caught up in the situation and suddenly they want to change then and there and want to go to telling on everybody, man. And so, you know, when you're willing to get on the stand and make a mockery of what you once was a part of, you want to clown people due to the fact that they may be going to jail, doing things that at one point in time you advocated in your life. Then to me, you know, that's suspicious. And like I said, man, you know, if you're getting a check from the government for your testimony, and you have been getting a check for the past 10 years or getting paid periodically, you know, it's not a good look. And so my whole point of telling you guys is this here, man. Loyalty on a large scale is dead, because you never know who's who. You never know who is going to say what in an attempt to remove themselves from a situation they knew they could potentially face before they even started doing the things that they was doing. So in order not to find out the hard way that certain homeboys in your collective was not loyal, man, I'm advising y'all right now, leave the streets alone, man. Go do something else. Go get your bread. It's nothing that you can accomplish in prison that you can't accomplish on the street tenfold, man. Like I said, it's over, man. It's a wrap. Get out there and get your bread, man. Your homeboy's talking about he gonna stay down, he gonna stay loyal, he not gonna do this, he not gonna do that. I'm telling you, it's a whole different situation when they put him in them cuffs. The walls start closing in on him. The prosecutor is in his face yelling, or the district attorney, or the police lieutenant, or whoever, and telling him that he's looking at the next 20 to 35 years, you know. Then you'll really see who's who. But in order not to even go through that situation, man, I'm telling y'all, do not risk your freedom trying to find out if dudes are as down as you think you are. So once again, man, I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Do not risk your freedom on the strength of believing what you've heard your 3 or 4 homies on the block saying, how they not gonna tell, they gonna keep solid, they gonna stay down, you know. Everybody's level of dedication to the streets is different, man. Everybody is not willing to go to prison for the next 10, 15, 20 years. We see it all the time, man. All these dudes who have these high profile names on YouTube, man, so many of them get exposed now, you know. And once again, dudes have probably been telling for the longest. Just now with this social media, we all have a better chance of seeing it. And so lastly, on an ending note, the dude at the start of my video that you guys seen was a rapper, I believe up out of Washington somewhere, man. And you see in 1 second, he's rapping about standing on business, staying down, making decisions on truth.
Rock, rhyme with that 30 stock, and I'm thinking murder while I'm cruising down this murder block, and I'm thinking murder.
Then later on, he ended up going against the codes that he claimed were important to him and started cooperating with the police. He went and done some federal time, I believe, and he was killed in the transitional home once he got out. So I'm gonna upload a little clip about that just to show you guys, man, you can't believe everything your homeboy says. like I said, man, that dude was in Washington. I didn't know the dude. I don't have any personal feelings against him. You know, I'm not upset with him because he chose to make certain decisions. I'm just trying to show you guys, man, that sometimes being in those streets definitely can lead a person down the wrong road, man. Anyway, you already know what time it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.
Thanks for joining us here on your News at 5. I'm Nia Wong.
And I'm David Rose. A man was shot and killed near the port of Tacoma. Today, Fox 13 learned from people living at the facility that the victim was tied to the transitional housing meant to move people from incarcerated life to the free world.
Fox 13's Matthew Smith joining us from Tacoma. And Matthew, police aren't saying a whole lot about this, but it sounds like you were able to track down video of the deadly shooting.
Tacoma police say that they were dispatched around 6 o'clock this morning. Now, Fox 13 obtained security footage of this area where all of this played out. It's time-stamped closer to 5:15, but that may just be an internal camera issue. Bottom line, what we saw in that video is at least one flash from one of the gunshots and then somebody just taking off running from this area shortly after.
Yeah, he stayed here.
Inside the Tacoma Residential Reentry Center, they heard the shots loud and clear.
He was leaving to work. Somebody roamed up on him, shot him a bunch of times.
Surveillance video captured at a nearby machine shop shows just a single flash, but those that heard the shooting counted multiple shots.
I heard the gunshots.
I spoke with two of the men who live in the same facility where this shooting took place outside of. They didn't want to show their faces on camera, but tell me, it all happened very quickly.
I heard about 8 repeatedly, and then a pause, and then 3 more. Sounded like he shot him a bunch of times and then checked and then shot him a couple more.
All of it obscured by bright headlights from this vantage point. This video obtained by Fox 13 reading a time of just after 5:14. Less than a minute after the shots, you see a figure take off running down the road. Now, in the light of day, the gunshots were visible on both this car and a second that had a single bullet hole.
Many men wish death every night. I